When that finishes, I always feel like I need to start bouncing and like dancing salsa. But anyway, woohoo! You know what today is, and if you know me well, it is my favorite day of the week. It is Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Hope all of you have had a good, exciting, and refreshing day. Hope you feel energized. You do not feel stressed. You feel great, amazing. I can never figure out which way to fix my glasses. But anyway, I hope all of you are feeling good. I've had a crazy week behind me. That's where I'm putting it. And I believe that I'm going to have a good week ahead of me because that's what we have to do is just forge the positivity so that this negativity can be pa fuera. Hello, Christine Lopez, Carmen Gonzalez. Thank you for joining us tonight. We are super, super pumped for our topic tonight. Before we get into that, let's remind folks what we were doing the last time we were here. The last time we were here, we were talking about let's keep it reels. And what we did was bring to you some modern day reels and TikToks. And we let you, the audience, guide the discussion on how you felt about those TikToks that were some were sad, some were happy, some were in your face, and some were just telling you about yourself. But it was a fantastic show. Our executive producer came from behind the green room and he joined me on the screen, and we had so much fun last week. So this week we are in for an amazing conversation with an awesome guest. Before we do that, we want to remind folks why we are here. We are here for those who need support in reference to domestic violence. So if you, someone you love, someone you know, a friend or foe, someone who is a part of your life that you know is dealing with domestic violence, you can reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. We know that there's one in Philadelphia, but I like to do the national because I don't know where you're watching from. So 1-800-799-7233. You can reach us at all of our social media platforms as well as our website at loveshouldnothurt.com. Tonight, ladies, we got the men versus the women. We're going to talk about what those ladies' nights look like and what those guys' nights out look like. And I have an amazing guest to lead this discussion because of course, it was his idea because every time he comes, he brings the fire. We had a different subject, and my man was like, wait a minute, can we do something a little bit different? And of course, I always say yes because this guy is always fire when he's on the screen. He brings us conversations and topics that not other people speak about, and you ladies seem to love him. So we brought him back, and we're going to have fun tonight. So let's welcome back Edwin Desamour. What's up, man?
Hello, pleasure to be back.
We love when you're here. You're very, very just, it's that conversation that people are like, all right, what are they going to talk about?
Hmm. Well, I'm excited. So I was getting ready. I had to go shadow box to get ready for
He's
uh,
right.
this topic. So
Before we get into that, dude, tell us a little bit about you because I know there are plenty of folks who know who you are, but there's also people who have never seen Mr. Desamore. Tell us a little bit about you, a little background.
a little background. My name is Edwin Desamour. I'm from Philadelphia in the Goodlands section. And I love to open up with that because people always tend to say, Goodlands, what are you talking about? Because if I mention the Badlands, people are quick to want to identify a section or a group of people, but I'm here to remind everyone that there are beautiful people who live in these neighborhoods that are dealing with things. So I rather open up and say, the good lands, because there are very beautiful, good, plenty of beautiful people in the area. I'm an advocate, community advocate, youth advocate, human advocate, and I'm also the chief of programs and activities at the Lighthouse Community Center, which is a awesome spot. So if anybody's interested in the Lighthouse, make sure you reach on out. Make sure I talk to Ray about putting the information out there. We have 15 acres field for this summer. So if anyone is dealing with youth that want to get involved, for those who are saying there's nothing out here for our kids, we have plenty. We have football, soccer, baseball, basketball, you name it. If you want to keep your kids busy this summer to get a little break, reach out to us so we can get your kids involved.
Absolutely. Hello, hello. I see that Alicia just joined us. Hello, Rody. We miss you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It's going to be a great conversation. So I'm sure that people saw the topic, right? And they're like, oh my God, ladies' night out, men's night out. Yes, it is nothing like you think it is. So we're going to have a conversation tonight and we're going to talk about those nights out and the conversations that are held and what that leads to once those people get home. So Mr. Desamore thought that this was something that we should talk about because, we always talk about domestic violence, right? We never talk about the discussions or the happenings or things that go on in the background that sometimes lead to those terrible nights and days, Something that we discussed when we spoke is that a majority of the domestic abuse calls that a lot of the precincts receive are normally on the weekends. they're after these ladies' nights out. They're after these drunken nights out and these boys' nights that people have. And we wonder why. So we thought, let's have that conversation tonight. Let's talk about when these women are out and the conversations that they have and these men and who your circle is and whether or not they're super supportive. So you said you wanted to open it up with something, Mr. Desamour. What was it that you were going to start us with?
I wanted to open up about what are signs of a toxic friendship that may be secretly affecting the quality of your relationship or your marriage. So, but before I even get into those little signs, let's open up a little bit and let's see by some whoever wants to place any comments there. When we talk about what sparks a girl's night out, what sparks a guy's night out, right? And what I'm about to say, please don't get upset with me because I'm just giving you my opinion, my views on a couple of things, and we could go back and forth. It's okay. We could disagree, but like for example, when I'm out talking with some of my friends and some of the guys, and I'll give a, a story that happened many other times with many other folks that I've heard this many times. So you have a gentleman say, "Hey Ed, my wife said she was going out this weekend. She said, I was looking forward to having a good time. She works hard. I want her to get out there." And he's really talking about supporting her. She really needs to get out. She's excited for that. And, he said he's home watching some TV. Next, he's going upstairs to go to sleep. He's on his mind is that she makes it home safe. He goes, next, hear the car pull up, the door, the keys, she's coming inside. He might be a little excited. He goes, you know what? She might come back a little frisky, things about to take off because she's been out drinking a little bit, a little tipsy, They need some excitement, some spunk in marriage, both of them working very hard. He says, but next the light comes on, she's not standing there in a negligee or just bare naked. She's standing there with a face, and where all of a sudden she got complaints and she has issues with our relationship. And what he found out was that when she went out, her friends tend to start to nitpick and identify certain things that they felt was wrong with their relationship, things that she never thought were wrong or that big of an issue. So when folks started really riding it, this is later on, right? He found everything out. But you hear this story over and over again, and I'm pretty sure it does happen vice versa also, where sometimes a man might come home. But in my opinion, I'm willing to take that on. That not too many men go through that. I think I'm old enough to been around certain groups, and I haven't really been around conversations where men tend to dog out that person's wife, or girlfriend in the group. Like, you shouldn't be dealing with that, trying to hurt his feelings as a man. I don't think about that. I think when men go out on the nights out, I think men tend to talk about boxing, football, and they might look at the menu but not order nothing. I'm being real. Men have these conversations. Oh, look at that walking by. Oh, look at that. They get to loosen up a little bit. But it's rare that I've seen that men start talking about someone's relationship and how they need to fix that. Or if a man chooses to vent about it, it's rare that a man does that. But when a man does vent, it's kind of like we just listen, like, oh, okay. But then you might have some cases where men are like, man, hell with her. You don't need to do that. Let's do this and let's do that, which is unhealthy, right? Or you might have some men saying, hey, man, you never get out with us. You need to get out more often. You need to go out. Hell with that. Don't let nobody lock you down. That is unhealthy, right? So, but I believe that women are a little bit more emotional, and it's a chain reaction. When one woman is emotional, that thing catches on. It's contagious. So, in your 20s, right? I don't know how old you are, Christina, right? But in your 20s, women tend to want to party. They want to go out, right? They want to get their salsa on. I believe that when a woman decides she wants some girls' night out after the 30s, it's because she's feeling some type of way. Girls, I need a drink. I need to get out. Right? I need to get out, right? And that's a signal already, like something's going on. So, and that's not all the time, right? Mind you, I'm just giving scenarios. I'm not saying this is all the time, but you will find that someone says in their 30s now, like, I need to get out. I need to step out. Right? And once they step out, they probably venting about the other half. They're probably complaining about the other half. And then what happens is a trigger effect. So some folks are in there like, well, you know what? Hell with him. Well, girl, you shouldn't be dealing with that. And matter of fact, I wanted to tell you anyway, I don't like this and I don't like this about him. Or I heard this, or I see that he likes this person's page. I see that he's following this, and I see that he's into that. And it turns into something else. It turns into something else. And nobody, was it really a girls' night out? Did they have a good time? Or was it a pity party? You
Yeah.
know, I'm just being honest about it. Men, yeah, it happens with men too. But I want to talk about now, are they your real friends? Do they know what they're doing? And I'll bring out the toxic traits and we could get the show going with that, right?
Yeah. Because I
Says,
got a rebuttal, so I'm waiting.
okay, all right. Um, they are not accepting your choice of partner or your relationship. Those are signs, right, of a toxic friendship. They criticize and are judgmental of your partner, right? They try to compete against your partner for attention. They try to embarrass you in front of your partner. They occupy all of your free time, hanging out, talking on the phone, texting, visiting, and you have no time left for your partner. They are disrespectful and rude to your partner. We have those, oh, my partner and my friend doesn't get along. You see that stuff goes on, right? They are disrespectful and rude. I read that. They only focus on the flaws of your relationship and seek to hear about the negatives over the positives in your relationship. They get mad at you when they're not invited to your romantic dinner or couple's vacation. They get jealous of your happiness when your romantic relationship is going well. Mm-hmm. They try to discredit your relationship satisfaction and happiness and make you feel guilty. They only see the negative side of their own relationship and try to convince you to ignore all the good in your relationship. And finally, they have an unhealthy lifestyle habits and try to pressure you to do things that are against your relationship, your ideology, right? And I read a few things there. It was a lot, but guess what? I guarantee that many of you saying, you know what? I've experienced that. There's a tug of war there between best friends and certain people. We spoke about earlier about how I might run into someone and say, hey, how's your friend doing? How's your girlfriend doing? Oh, she all caught up in her marriage. We don't even see her no more. I'm like, damn, I didn't need to know all that. And I didn't want to hear all that. All I asked was, how is she doing? And I know it's the other way around with fellas too. I'm going to be a little bit more explicit. Hey, what's going on? Well, heck, well, he all whipped. He don't want to come out. He don't do anything. So you already hear resentment for someone being in a relationship. So I think the show should be about what role do we play, right? What influence do we have in our tribe when we go out? Is it a positive? Especially at our age, right? Because I see it all over social media. Everybody's talking about, I'm all about positive vibes. No more negative this, no more negative that. But we seem to fall right back into it. And sometimes we are the negative force. Mm-hmm. So when we start those type of behaviors, how out of hand does it get? How does these arguments start to transpire into something else? Are we instigating some type of unhealthy relationship at home? Are we making someone think a certain way or believe a certain, lie or whatever it is? So that's why I wanted to get at, and I'm willing to hear your rebuttal.
It's not a bad rebuttal. I see Eric said, boy, I am glad I joined. Glad to see some men on here giving him some support. So first of all, I want to say that it's a good way to kind of venture into this discussion, because what we most talk about oftentimes is toxicity, right? And a lot of the things that you described that happen on some of those ladies' nights come from a lot of toxicity, right? They come from toxic mindsets. There's jealousy sometimes. There's something I said to you when we first spoke about this discussion is that misery also loves company. So, oftentimes if some girl is going through some type of strife in her relationship and we go out on a ladies' night and I start talking about something negative, she definitely going to jump on board because she's already unhappy. So it's like, oh yeah, me too. So I think that there's a differentiation. Let's say that there's a difference in friendships. And that's what we're going to look at tonight. What are the healthy friendships and the unhealthy friendships in both women and men? Because when people go out, there's differences. Okay. So you said you don't know how old I am. I say it all the time. So you're lying. I'm 41. So, you're absolutely right. Most times when I call up my girlfriends and I want to go out, it's because either I had a hard week at work, or yes, if I'm dealing with a man and I've got drama or he's stressing me out or I'm sad, I need to go out. I need to drink because I'm stressed. And women are absolutely a lot more emotional than men are. Women will go out and we have these conversations and we'll say, I just want to go out. I want to dance. I want a good time. But at some point in that evening, after the drinking and having the good time, the conversation does come up. I thought he did this to me or he treated me this way. And your friends are either going to be and I have plenty of these, the non biased friends that are just like evaluating both sides of the token. Like maybe he had a bad day, maybe something that you said, you didn't say the right way. Maybe you came off the wrong way, you upset him. I have had people in my background who have been like, oh, he did that. Yeah, he is a piece of crap. And he is that. And I will say that a lot of times in those previous, moments, I have gone home more angry than when I left because now they fueled me up. They already got me more angry. I already left the house angry. And even though I went out to calm myself down, they're agreeing with all my negativity and everything that I'm upset about. So now I'm more pissed. So I'm getting home and I'm opening that bedroom door and I'm waking you up and we're going to talk about what I want to talk about because now they have riled me up. Now I'm angrier than I was when I left. So that's the toxic friends. That's what I say. Toxic traits. I won't say toxic friends because I have friends who have done it who are not toxic, but those are the traits that sometimes we have. And sometimes it's because we feel like we're looking out for our girl. Like he did that to you, like, oh, that's wrong. For us, it's I'm looking out for my girl. Then we have the other people that it's just blatant. And you have described a lot of the traits of people that I no longer am in association with, like just jealousy of everything that I do with my partner and just wanting more time than my partner and not realizing that as we grow and we evolve, when you become an adult and you have these relationships, our friendship isn't going to be about you and me now every week. I'm in a relationship now and I need to help that forge a good relationship. Me and you are still going to be cool, but now my relationship with this person has to be different. So girls' nights out absolutely can take a turn for which way or the other. And I'm glad that people are blowing up the comment section because this is what we want. We want people to interject and give
So
us their
that
views.
means we get a win on that one. Men's get a point. Men get a point on that when it
I,
comes
I,
to.
I don't know about all that. No, no, I'll give you that. Yeah, men will get a point to that. Women are a lot more emotional. We are. And if we're going out for a ladies' night, I will say that sometimes our friends do rile us up. Uh-oh, Charlotte is here and she said no. So I'm gonna give you half
Thank
a
you,
point.
Eric. Thank you,
I'm gonna
Eric.
give you I'm gonna give you half a point. Now everybody that's watching, I love it. This comment section is blowing up. You got a lot of no's. I'm gonna tell you this much, ladies. This is all for fun. Please do not be upset
Yeah,
about our conversation. If you're joining us for the first time, we are absolutely we have conversations other people don't.
I think this is a conversation that needs to be talked. Need to be had. This is not about who's winning or nothing like that,
Yeah, we're
but
just friends.
it's just about trying to find out where we stand and who we are. Because sometimes, like you said, you said something very key about not everybody's toxic, but they might
Yeah,
have toxic traits, and a lot of times we don't know. We were. I was guilty of some of that. I was guilty of some of that. I'm honest. I'm man enough to say that in the past. I was
yeah,
guilty of that, promoting anything that's unhealthy because you were used to your homie hanging out with you. You were used to
yeah.
certain things. Or, my whole thing is like just because someone's in a relationship and you don't like that person doesn't mean your friend has to break up with that person now.
Right.
Or it doesn't mean that they shouldn't tag along or stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's just the immaturity all the way around with that. So it's just about, some of the questions I have is that, when does that one person in the group say, all right, this conversation on this night out is getting a little out of hand. Can we talk about something positive?
Yeah.
And not only that, I heard this terminology before, and I'm going to use it a little bit more, man. We have so many ghetto psychiatrists, right? Ghetto psychiatrists, right? Because if anybody here is taking therapy, right? When you're talking to your therapist, you wonder why they're not saying anything to you. They're just looking at you like,
Mhm.
and then they throw it back at you. Well, how do you feel about that? And they listen, right? But man, ghetto psychiatrists, oh, ghetto psychiatrist, what? Shoo, oh my God, I know, but let me tell you something. I know somebody that knows somebody that put up with that, or I heard this and you shouldn't. And they talk about my grandma's sister's cousin used to be in something like that. And it's a whole whirlwind. And you have so many people want to have advice that is unhealthy, right?
Mhm.
But when do you ever hear when that night out is when it's a girls' night out or a men's night out? When do you ever hear someone say, "Hey, I'm sorry that you guys are going through that, and I hope that y'all make it through that. And sometimes that person just wants to vent, right? They
Right.
just want to vent. But how do we support that person and saying, hey, I hope you guys really work, especially if there's children involved, right? Especially if there's a marriage, especially if there's a house and finances involved, especially if all these things going on,
Yeah.
instead of putting this person in a worse predicament, how can we make sure we support or just listen?
Right.
Because there's times I just listen, I don't have nothing to say. You
Yeah.
know, I'm not judging, I'm not anything. Sometimes people just need to talk. People need to put it out there, but how can we as individuals, you know, play our part? What influence do we have in that group? If you have no influence at all, should you still be a part of that? Or are you okaying it? Or are you co-signing? Well, I didn't say anything. I was sitting there with my little drink bobbing to the music, and I was just like, mm-hmm. You're just as guilty, right? But the thing is like, how can we support and make sure, we're sending folks back into something that's healthy, or maybe get. And if we can't give good advice, don't say nothing at all.
Right. Right.
So I'm just curious on what does that look like, because at the end of the day, again, when you at a certain age, and I've noticed that when someone says, "Hey, man, I need to step out," it's not because they, when you're in your 20s, you want to step out because you want to dance, you want to have a good time, you tearing up the city. But when you're at a certain age, when someone makes a statement, "I need a drink and I need to step out," there's some stress going on,
Yeah. Most times.
right? And they need a break. So it's kind of like, what does that look like? What does a woman's night look like, and what does a men's night look like? Because I've known men that is scared to come home and say they had a good time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You got men saying, I come home like, how was it?
It was all
It
right.
was all right, babe. It was okay, right? But the minute they say they had a good time, well, oh, you had a good time without me.
Hmm.
Because my friends told me they saw you with your friends giggling and laughing, having a good time, but you're never like that with me,
Yeah.
right? So
I've heard that.
it could just go all types of ways, but I just wanted to really have this discussion here and talk about, what does that adult night look like, right? Are we being adults, or are we being kids, or did we revert back to being high school kids?
Yeah.
You know?
I think it depends on the maturity level of. Okay, so I'll say a couple things. I think it depends on the maturity level of your circle of friends. I think it depends on where people are at in their lives and what people are dealing with. Um, I will say this much. I recently went out on a very amazing ladies' night. And it wasn't like a crazy ladies' night, like, woohoo, we're all drunk, we're all crazy. It was an adult night where we all got together. We spoke about different things that were important to us. We gave one another unbiased advice, and even some advice where my own girls said to me that I needed to check myself, or the other people that were there, we told them like, you need to check yourself. They're not just the problem, you might be the problem too. And I think that that is absolutely the difference in what you're saying. Like, I can remember going out on nights like this when I was younger, and we would just tear apart that person's man. Like, oh my God, he's a dog, and I can't believe he did this type of thing. And you're absolutely right. In my 20s and in my 30s, it was like, oh my God, get drunk and just, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna tell him off. And I'm 41 now, and I'm sitting at a table with women over 40. And this was the best, to me, the best ladies' night I've had out in so long. We had a great dinner, we had good conversation, and we absolutely just sat there and gave each other advice. Like, we went around the table, like, are you good? What's going on in your life? What's new with you? How's your organization? You're married, you're married. Two people at the table were married, two of us are single. And the married women talked about positives and negatives, and we were not combative with one another. We were not negative about the person in either of any of our relationships. We just were speaking about what we've been dealing with, what each person was going through. And even with the person that was like, I really want to talk about this, we even told them about themselves. Like, you need to check yourself too. It cannot be all about you and this, that, and the other. So I do think that it comes with a maturity level and where people are in their lives. Like, I'm not in a place in my life where I want to see anybody in my circle unhappy. When I was younger, I never wanted to see anybody unhappy. But if I was going through it and we all went out and we all going through it, it was a man bashing session. Now that I'm older, I just want to see myself happy and everyone around me happy. So if I'm going out and we're talking about something, before I tell you, like, leave him, forget about him, I'm going to ask you, well, have you guys thought about marriage therapy? Like, have you guys sat down and talked to someone? Because I want to make sure that the people in my life are happy. And I think that when we're younger, we're partying, we're young, our mindsets are different. And I think with age, we come to different levels. And I don't know if anybody will agree or go against that, but that's just my opinion. I see this chat like blowing up. And I
Yeah,
want to,
I think
start
it's
getting
worse.
into those
I think
things.
it's worse as we get older. Not for everybody, but for the majority of especially in our culture.
Mhm.
Like I will feel robbed of a good time right now. If my friends are like, yo, let's step out this Friday, right?
Mhm.
I'm bet. Let's have a good time. But if you stepped out because you just wanted to vent about something, I'm gonna feel right. Even though I'm gonna be a friend and listen to you, but I'm like, man, we could have did this at Starbucks. Venting is a Starbucks thing, right?
See, well, our night out was not supposed to be a wild night. It was let's have dinner and have good
Yeah,
conversation.
well,
So
okay,
we
the
already
dinner
knew
thing. But
what it
when you
was.
get the nights out, you might want to have music. You want to hear something who's going on. But what I'm saying,
Mhm.
if someone has the vent,
Mhm.
there's a time and place for that. Hey, let's talk on the phone. Let's not wait till we get a few drinks.
Mhm.
Let's not get. You might need a few drinks to just open up. But what I'm trying to get at is that adult night out should be about having a good time, right? Coming back feeling good.
Right.
So I'm not saying we should be able to have a safe space for people. I believe in safe space of
Mhm.
do you need to talk, or do you need to vent? And you listen, you let that out, and you like, hey, you know what? We're going to get to that. We're going to deal with it. But for now, let's have a good time,
Yeah.
right? Let's not ruin the party, and keep it moving. But at the same time, just noticing and being aware of who we are, because I tend to believe, and the reason I wanted to have this conversation, that I know men, we have a long way to go. We came a long way to evolve as men,
Mhm.
and how we should be respecting women and treat
Mhm.
women. And a lot of us evolve and mature in different levels, but
Mhm.
we're working on it. But I think ladies just need to realize that, I noticed that a lot of ladies that bash men, they have sons. They
Mhm.
have sons, right? So when you bashing men, men ain't shit. Men ain't this and that. But you got sons, so you're ready making it hard for them for the future. If you're raising a good young man, there's a young lady that's listening that men ain't shit, and she's not going to give your son a chance because she's going to look
Mhm.
at your son saying he ain't shit. You
Mhm.
know, is I just want to be mindful of what we say, and vice versa too.
Mhm.
Men should be saying woman ain't shit. You got a daughter. You got granddaughters, you got stepdaughters. You shouldn't be saying woman ain't this or women are like this. A woman can't be trusted, because what I'm saying is just watch how we talk, what kind of energy we put out. We shouldn't be mad at one person then mad at the whole male race or female. Is kind of like
Absolutely.
how we move forward and respect each other.
Right. I agree. And look, Yolanda says a night out should be a time to forget the moment and have fun. I think I agree with her as well. I think it's something that Dolores said. Dolores says, right, it depends on what is planned. So for us, it was supposed to just be, let's go out for dinner and have drinks and let's have a good night of conversation. We already knew that a few of us had things we wanted to talk about. So it was planned as just an adult night to have simple conversation over dinner. When I say it was one of the best nights, is because we went out, we had our dinner, we said what we had to say. And literally, as we were walking to our car, we ended up finding a bar after and we ended up staying. We had a good time, we had drinks. So the party and the exciting moment did come. I mean, we ended up seeing a show. It was an amazing night. We had so much fun, but that's not what was planned. It wasn't planned to be that type of night out. It wasn't planned to be shit faced and be totally drunk. It was really like, let's just go have some dinner, let's just go have some drinks, and let's just have a good night and talk and kind of like vent with one another. We had great conversation, good dialogue. We're able to support one another through whatever we're going through right now. And then when we thought the night was over, let's just go home, get in our car. We saw another bar and we're like, let's just go in. And we ended up having an amazing night. And all of that conversation was done. We were done. We all felt good and we had drinks. We ended up at a drag show. It was like an amazing night. We had so much fun. And it was probably one of the best, like she said, unexpected plans are the best. It was like the best unexpected night, but we had the best of both worlds because we have great mature conversations and we vented and we let everything go. And then we got rid of that and just had drinks and just had a
Mhm.
fun night. So I think it depends on what we were going through. So I can't believe we're already at the half point. That was mad quick. So before we get into all these comments, I knew this would be fire because every time you on, it always is. I just want to remind folks while we're here, we're at the half mark. Thank you so much for those who are watching. I see you and you are appreciated. We are here for a cause. So I always like to remind folks at the top of the show, at the middle of the show, and at the end, if you or someone you love is dealing with any form of domestic violence, whether it's someone that you love, a friend, a family member, even a foe, all you need to do is hand them a number 1-800-799-7233. You can reach us on all of our social media platforms as well as loveshouldnothurt.com. Remember, if we do not return your call, your email, your text within 24 hours, and it is something that you desperately are seeking help for, reach out to the hotline or definitely call 911. That's some more. Let's look at some of these comments because there's a whole lot. Ray, let's start from the top. We had a huge one right at the beginning. Let's see if it fits on the screen. If not, I'll read it from the side. Um, that wasn't it, but we'll go back. Cynthia says, I have one friend who knows so much about my marriage, and she always gives me the best unbiased advice. And when she sees my husband, she treats him the same exact ways she always has, which is awesome. On one of our shows, Evelyn Ramos joined me, and we were doing I believe Red Flags was the show. I'm not sure if it was Red Flags or not, but one of the shows that we were on, I showed a video and it had Steve Harvey, and something that it wasn't Steve Harvey, it was the Oprah one. The Oprah video had said was get you a commission, get you a truth commission who's going to be that group of friends that are going to tell you whether it's good or bad, about your situation and can be unbiased. They're not going to favor you, they're not going to favor that person, but they're going to give you a healthy and good response or feedback, something that's beneficial to your situation. Get yourself a truth commission that's going to even tell you to your face when you're the one that's wrong. So, Cynthia, I think we all need those types of friends that can be unbiased and can hear the good and the bad and not judge, because that's the last thing you want is to vent to a friend and say, oh my God, I'm going through this, blah, 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 blah. But you're going through it in the moment, and things could get better. And you don't want a friend now to see that person and be at your family event for your kid or whatever and be like, oh, he's not shit. I'm being nasty to him because you just needed their ear in that moment. You didn't need the judgment. You didn't need the bias. You just needed them to hear you out in that moment.
Now, I just want to say real quick that if there is a real issue like domestic violence or anything like that, nobody should be
Absolutely.
partying. You should be getting that person to the safest place as
Absolutely.
possible, or sitting down and saying, "Hold
Absolutely.
up, I didn't know you were going through this right here." So there should be a safe
Absolutely.
space for someone to open up, but I don't think there should be any partying after that. If there was some
No,
news, so
absolutely not.
learning that. So I just wanted to say that and make sure that we support anyone
Absolutely.
in a dangerous situation.
Absolutely. Right. Let's get another one up there. This is the big one. Okay, let's see if I can read it from the screen themselves. It says, I understand everyone needs advice to vent, etc. But I always say a relationship is of two, and anything that needs to be addressed should be by the people in the relationship. People should be mindful when the friend is giving genuine advice and when a friend is giving unhealthy advice that may be a reflection of their trauma of their own relationships or past relationships. Also, just insecurities they need to deal with within themselves. Absolutely. I touche that 110%.
Yeah, 100%. But again, as adults, um, a lot of times we have a culture that doesn't know how to keep certain things. Look at social media, right?
Mhm.
You have certain folks that put halfway what's going on about their relationship, right? You don't even have to watch novelas. I'm surprised we still got novelas going on because all you gotta do is turn on, social media, right?
Mhm.
And basically, you all it takes is one. And I've watched this, and you can make an experiment out of this. Put one negative comment about a situation with your man or somebody with their woman.
And
There's
oh
going to
yeah.
be 50 people commenting on that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this and this and this and that. And I'm like, wow. It's kind of like folks are waiting for that.
Mhm. Absolutely. But if you put up something that's super positive, lots of times you get like 10.
Yeah,
But if you get up some juicy stuff, you get like 50,
yeah,
60,
yeah.
blowing it up. Let's see the next one, Ray. Let's do brunch, go to the gym, or even plan a girls' trip to, yes, take some time away from our routine of being a mother, working, dealing with others, etc. The idea is to reset and focus on us, self care, self love, to which we forget to do at times. Absolutely. Absolutely. You need that moment to kind of just deflect yourself from all the negativity and everything that's going on and kind of just get together with your girls. Listen, I did it last year. We had a Mother's Day trip and it was no negativity. It was just quality time with each other and just positivity the entire time. So those are the types of girls' nights or girls' times away that we need that are beneficial to us.
Yeah, and just real quick, and it's not just the girls. Guys go
Hmm.
through it.
Hmm.
Guys hurt too.
Yeah.
Guys have emotions too. But
Hmm.
what's sad too in the culture of men, sometimes there's no real advice given. It's just man up,
Yeah.
man up, man up. So a lot of times men shut down, so
Yeah.
they're holding in a lot. So I just want to put out there also to the men: make sure you provide safe space for your friends, your brothers to open up and talk. Uh, for the men that are listening, also, you should be able to provide that safe space for your friend and not make them feel, because a lot of times they're gonna feel like they're less of a man,
Yeah.
because they can be struggling about certain things. They just want to vent and talk about it, but they don't want to be looked upon as you're not being a man, which is this egotistical, this whatever machismo type of stuff. But men do have feelings, men have emotions, and they do hurt. So it's just about creating a safe space for men also. Just let whatever men are listening right now, there's nothing wrong with being able to open up about what you're dealing with.
We need to give each other a switch. So the
Yeah,
women go out and we vent, and the guys be like, "We just going out. We ain't trying to hear all that. We need to switch." And the women need to just go out and
yeah,
party and have a good time and forget everything. And the men need to be
yes,
like, "Bro, I need to have a moment and just talk
yeah,
to my boys.
yeah,
We need to
yeah,
switch up."
yeah, most definitely. Because a man, this is not all men, but a lot of times a man could be going through real domestic violence with his wife, right? And men still mind their business,
Yeah.
in a group, like wow, and they keep it moving. But I just know that, a lot of my friends speak about they are terrified when the other halves step out because they don't know what they're getting back after the woman night out or whatever it is. So, uh, you know,
I got it. I got it. Ray, we got lots of comments there, brother. Let's go. Ma. Christine Lopez, cover my pretty face. No, I'm joking. When we are younger, our view and opinions are different versus when we are older. When my girls and I go out, yes, it's dinner, wine, or maybe dancing. But if one of them has to vent because one of us is struggling with something, we all listen. Some of us may give advice based off of personal experiences, while the other may give an unbiased opinion. And some may just be straight up about it, but we don't bash the partners we have in our lives. We're supportive of each other either way, but bashing, I can't see the rest. Let's see. Let me find the comment. But bash the partners, I don't, I guess it just ran off. It just
well,
says bash
everybody's
the
on here
partners.
perfect. Hey Ray, you got to pull up some comments where you got some real people. You pulling up some real are these
Mike
social media?
Vega, Mike Vega, an established support system is truly beneficial. Look, that's a dude talking. And look, he said, damn. An established support system is
Okay,
truly,
Mike.
yes, for the dudes, for the dudes. You
Okay,
do
Mike.
it
No,
too.
that's good. No, no, I'm just saying, Ray. Let's see some real comments in there because come on
I
now.
appreciate it. Mike Vega's there, guys. That's not my dad.
Everybody got perfect night out.
Yeah, everybody don't got perfect nights out. Girls, tell us about your bad nights out. What girls made you mad and go home and want to fight your man? No, I'm joking. I'm only playing. Yolanda put up another comment. You see that, Ray? I absolutely agree. Men are dealing with things and feel they can't display it because it's a macho thing that has been instilled since a young boy. Men, you too can speak up and feel. Absolutely.
No, it's
Said,
incredible. A couple of questions I might have also is that not only just how does those conversations go, how does it turn into not allowing somebody to evolve? Like, say there's a girls' night out and there's a guys' night out, right? And men are heavily guilty of this, right? So you might have one man that's attracted to someone on that night out, and then you got three other men talking about, oh, I remember her from back in the day. She was like this and she was like that, not giving someone the benefit of the doubt or
yeah.
a chance to evolve. And that happens strongly on the woman's side also. Oh,
Hmm.
girl, let me tell you about what I heard about him. Girl, let me tell you what you know, you start to taint something where you prevent someone from being in a healthy relationship because now that person is tainted. Now that person is afraid to step or talk to the next person.
Hmm.
So again, how does these night outs look like? Are they about gossiping? Is it unhealthy? Is it about lifting each other up? Do you ever go out and recognize somebody's growth? You
Yeah.
know, say, hey man, this person, good night, sorry, still this. Um, is this person still, at a good place? And this person has, when do we give kudos to people and say, man, I give them props, instead of looking for the gossip, because you never know who's in that group. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because once you point something out about someone,
Hmm.
your friend in that circle might be going through the same thing, and now they really shutting down because they're watching you gossiping about the next person in their life.
Hmm. Absolutely. Jackie's putting up some good comments. She says girls be talking when they together, and
Thank
the
you, Jackie.
and
Thank
the
you, Jackie.
and the wrong company will get you in trouble in relationships and life. Yep, absolutely. Don't believe the hype.
That's right, Jackie.
Charlotte says girls' night out can be a place where folks' insecurities fester. No,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
Absolutely.
No,
Yes.
that's real.
Jessica says Edwin is not wrong. It's just that sometimes a woman's night out is about resetting and feeling stress free for a few hours. Not every night out revolves around men. It's not about you. Jackie says, hopefully by 40 plus, you over the friends that agree with you on everything. I need a
Mm.
friend that calls me out on my shh. I got a lot of them. All my friends call me out all the time. Charlotte says, sometimes girls want to know if they heard anything about their man from the streets. Absolutely. Hey, Fish, we see you, baby. He said, I'm late. Hey, guys. Jackie says, Jessica, you guys are awesome. I love it. Listen, I knew this conversation would stir some, but you know what? Absolutely. I think you and I had a discussion the other day, right? And I always put myself out there. So we had a conversation, Edwin and I, and he said his opinion of me and something that like that he's heard from other people about me. And I said to him, like, well, that's refreshing to hear because at 40, you have no idea what people think about you. Like, I know that I run this organization, right? And I'm not perfect and I have a lot that goes on in my life still. But I have evolved from who I was, the Christy that I was at 20 and the Christy that I was at 25 and 30. I'm totally different than the person that I was then. And we have no idea what people think about us. Not that I live off of what people think of me, never ever. But it was interesting to hear a man say, I've heard people say this about you. And I'm like, oh, and it's like men and it's positive. And I'm not saying I'm surprised the man will talk positive because I would hope
Well,
they would never
well,
have negative to
just
say about me.
just to bring that up is, and the counter that is to say that because the conversation was going towards, and we started speaking on that because we're trying to come up with that show topic, right?
Hmm.
And the conversation was based on, why, what should matter what other people think,
Hmm.
right? Because at the end of the day, I know you said you wonder what people do say or think about me, right?
Hmm.
I don't. I don't care.
Yeah.
There was a time I did care.
Hmm.
But the problem sometimes we're worried about what is someone thinking.
Yeah.
I feel no need to correct a story about me. I feel no need to
Hmm.
correct anything. People who love me and know about me
Hmm.
know the truth about me, and I've
Hmm.
grown and evolved to that point. Something that I try to teach my sons.
Yeah.
You know, but it's about you know staying. And when we were talking, I was telling you, I said you're on a platform now. You do your show now.
Hmm.
So at this end of the day, you have to stay here.
Hmm.
You have to because you're a public figure now.
Hmm.
And this is where you're at. So when someone speaks, it has to be kind, or this person didn't help me out. But at the end of the day, if someone says something negative,
Hmm.
is it going to bother you? No. Like I feel no need to. I have friends come up to me like, "Yo, someone said this and this and that, right? Why don't you?" I was like, "No, let them believe what they want. I
Yeah.
don't care. It doesn't matter." I was Saturday. I was home sleeping. I found out I was in Isla Verde. And, I
It
have
was
no
your
need.
pops. It was your pops. It wasn't
Yeah,
you.
it was him, right? But I don't look nothing like him like that. But what I'm trying to get is I don't feel the need to say I wasn't, and I'll just use that as an example. There's always sightings of me somewhere, right? But I don't feel no need to say where I'm at, what I'm doing, or anything in my personal life. I have nothing to explain to anyone,
Yeah.
but to the people around me that I care and love, and the close friends that I have. So
Right.
it's about, when I'm out on my adult night with my friends, that's my circle. I feel comfortable talking to. They know about
Mhm.
me, those are the ones I really care about. What they feel about me and what we got going on
Mhm.
because we grew up together. So it's kind of like, how healthy are these nights when we go out? Are they
Mhm.
good? Someone I read a quote one time that says, "Pay attention to how your body feels after you hang out with someone."
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're not feeling good, there's something wrong with that.
I think too, we get to a place in our life where we can decipher the good and the bad in our relationships. And when I say relationships, I mean friendships. We have people that have been in our lives for years that we start to realize, maybe that was toxic. Maybe, the person that I was always with, wasn't good for me, And I think that at the age that I'm at now, the circle of friends that I'm around, I feel comfortable enough to know that when I go out, it's going to be a healthy time. And I think that going back and forth to what we were just saying, I think that shows the level of difference in who our friendships are now and then. Because, back then, that's the type of people that I probably would be with. Like if I want to see somebody out, they know about them in the past, but it's like, oh, he's attractive. And it's like, don't even mess with him. Don't even mess with him because they knew him 20 years ago for just doing this, that, and the other, but have no idea the person that this person has evolved into now. Like this
Yeah,
person is doing so many positive things. He's an amazing father. He's this good guy. But I will never know any of that because before I even get the opportunity to try to get the courage to go up to this person, I'm not now because now everybody around me has said, oh my God, he's terrible. And don't
yeah,
mess with him because they knew him 25 years ago and they don't even know him now.
yeah. I give a perfect example. A friend of mine was at a baby shower, and then there was like a then after that was a ladies' nights out, and this is a friend of mine. His wife was a part of that outing, and she was like, "Well, Edwin, I didn't know you back then, but I know you now." And the way they were just dogging you out, I was like, "Dogging me out?" And she was like, "Yeah." So what was this is really funny for those who are under 35 might not know what I'm talking about, but they were talking about the Edwin and the eighth floor, a club called the eighth floor, right? If you're under 35, you might not know about this club, right? Uh, but but what I'm saying is like they talked about that guy then, right? And I'm like, wow. But I didn't feel the need to fix that. But it's like people are still talking about certain, I'm not the same person I was last year, 2 years ago, last week, or yesterday.
Yeah.
Everybody evolves. But it's kind of like when we have that night out, how can we just keep things positive, uplift
Mhm.
people, and it's all about being positive moving forward. When you get older, you don't got no time for no negative crap. We don't. Yeah,
Charlotte got you
I
old.
am, man. I really am. I really say that. But I will say, when do we start just saying, I just want to, but just good energy in my life, right? A lot of my posts that I put up right now, is just little jokes, little fun things, because people waking up stressed out. So how can you get a laugh out of someone, right? But
Yeah.
some folks quit try to make it quick as a diary, like I hate men, or I hate this, or people ain't this. Keep your circle small. Like, come on, we cut that stuff out. Is what we say, you
Yeah.
know, and how we love on each other. But I really think that adults nights out, a man should be home, right, comfortable with his wife out there having a good time and being ready for her to come home. you know or his partner or his girlfriend, whatever it is, and it should be vice versa.
Yeah.
Folks should be able to feel comfortable and saying, what, they came back and like, hey, did you have a good time, babe? I had a wonderful time. I'm glad you did.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Peeking back off of that, there's a meme that I posted a few weeks ago that said, if you knew me in the past, you no longer know me. And that's because people are still like, people make judgments about who I was in the past, or not to say that I was a terrible person, but I think that I've evolved so much now. I think I am not at all the Christina that I was when I was 21. And I think if I met that Christina now, I wouldn't even know her because I'm so different from them. And I think that people, they have biased opinions of like that's who you are, and they don't realize that people change and like you're a totally different person as you get older. We see a bunch of comments we haven't gotten to. Carmen was piggybacking off of what we said. She says, oh my God, Christina, I just went through this because someone gave me a background of this man, but when I got to talking with him, he had changed his life completely. And that happens so many times. And I think it's unfortunate because sometimes there could be great people that you're missing out on because of just bad reputations from the past. I mean, I have women who dislike me, and I'll go places and they'll be like, "She doesn't like you," and I'm like, "I've never met her. Who is that?" And they're like, "Oh, she knows about this person, that person from the past," and I'm like, "I know nothing about that." But it was so long ago, and people base their opinions and their
Well,
judgments on
I
things that are just heard from a long time ago.
one thing I've learned from being a viejo, right? um,
Charlotte,
one thing I've learned
you put it back up.
is that the beautiful part about life is that you get a chance to evolve. Like
Yeah.
the minute you open your eyes again every day, you have an opportunity. That's
Start over,
beautiful.
reset.
And reset, but recognize different things. I every night I go to sleep, I actually debrief myself. Right, what I did today, what I like about myself, what I didn't like about myself, and what can I do better.
Mhm,
Right, and I believe I'm gonna do that every day to the day I die,
mhm.
right? But the beautiful part about life is evolving and being a better person, an individual, and surrounding yourself with good people. There are beautiful people. There are beautiful women out there, right? There are good men out there, but let's not misconstrue that, all men are the same. Let's not misconstrue that all women are the same. Everybody's an individual, right? But it's all about who you place around you, who's your circle, and what they got going on. So uh, that's one of the reasons I want to do is it wasn't really. It always feels like a men versus woman, but it could turn
Mhm.
into that. It could be a men versus woman when you have a negative night out, right?
Yeah,
And then also it could be a woman versus woman because again,
that
going on
too.
with the negative stuff. Because I used to work for an organization. I was the only male with 60 ladies, right? And
Bendito.
and sometimes they forgot I was there working with them, right? When I used to hang out with them and I used to hear some stuff, I'm like, man, I don't think I should have heard that. You know, ladies could go in. They could go
Yeah,
in
we can.
or some situations, even against each other.
Bad idea.
They could go in on each other. So it's about let's uplift each other. Let's stop the hating. Let's stop the bashing. Let's stop bringing our negativity, our baggage with us, and just trying to get everyone in the same pool. Let's start,
Mhm.
putting out there what's positive. If we start being a little bit more positive, we'll find out our nights out are fabulous. Our nights out are good.
There's a. I just wanted you to see that
Hey,
comment
Eric.
as he's about to step off. Ed, mad respect, brother. Thanks for stepping up. This discussion was awesome. Thank you for being here tonight, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
We appreciate you.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for the kind words. I'm gonna cash app you later.
You paid him to say the good stuff.
Eric's a good brother.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I think that we have had an awesome night of discussion. I think every time you join us on the screen, people, let me tell you, and let me be honest with you. I was absolutely stalking him. I've been stalking him for like a few months now. Look, he looks puzzled. What am I going to say? You can admit it. Christina's a stalker, right? I've been stalking you for months, and every 5 minutes, I'm like, so can you come on next week? Oh, you can't. Okay, how about come out next week? Are you free next week? Was bothering him constantly because I know that when I have conversations with him, it's always good. So I wanted him to be on, and I'm excited he was here. We're gonna look at a few more comments before we get off the screen because I want everybody's opinions to be heard. I was gonna say Eric. Ray, throw a couple more of those comments. Yolanda says, I realized I was in an unhealthy relationship before, but I was also that toxic person in the relationship as well. I've learned from those lessons and most definitely evolved. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love for a woman to say that because it's true. I've said that a lot of times too. I've been in some really bad relationships, but I've been a bad part of those relationships too. Next comment, Ray. As you get older, you start to see the red flags. Yes, you absolutely do. We just had a show on that, Mike. Check us out on YouTube. Charlotte said, it's good to experience all kinds of people. How else would you know what folks are your people?
That's
That's
right.
true. That's very true. What else we got, Ray? He's scrolling. Or after 40, you don't care what others think. Absolutely. I think that's what you said, that, at this age, it's like, I don't really care what people think about me.
Yeah.
Que piensan lo que quieren de mí. How's that song go? He had to put that up there again.
Um,
Ray, we just got a new comment that just popped up. Last one. Lawrence Lauren Simmons Lee, thank you so much for being here. Says first time chiming in, great conversations. Thank you. Just happened to see it on Instagram. I tried to get to know people for who they are today. Absolutely. I think that
That's
everybody
right.
evolves and you have to get to know people for what is in front of you and not what you have heard.
Yeah. I I think yeah,
She's
the
she's
community
talking
does
about
get
Philly. She's talking about Philly because she
yeah,
left Philly.
Philadelphia.
Being
Yeah, she ain't
judgmental.
lying. That's Philly. I will say that I just want to before you start heading off and and and,
Let's
and
do what we do since you're going to give that comment. I'm going to give you the floor. It's 55 minutes in. I'm going to do what we normally do, which is giving our closing comments. I'm going to leave you the floor, Ed, so that you can say what you say, and I will get off and you will have your shining moment. Because I know there's ladies on here who are like this.
oh
So let's
man.
let them see you. Go ahead, Ray. You can throw me to the back.
Well, basically, I just wanted to get at on the show is that many of us have children. We have sons, we have daughters, and what we put out there affects them. And I'm talking about men. If we're talking negative about women, how our daughters are going to be treated by what we say. When we're talking about, ladies, when we're talking about men, when we're talking about men are nothing but dogs, but you have sons, are we setting your sons up for failure? Are we setting your sons up to be treated a certain way or to be in an unhealthy relationship? So I think today I wanted this topic to be about how can we be positive? How can we put ourselves in a positive situation so we can move forward? And also bring up a new generation of people having healthy relationships and healthy night outs. Night outs should be, matter of fact, let's make night outs great again. How about that? Thank you, Ray.
I love that. Let's make night out great again. I won't get into where that came from. We're going to send you to the back and I'm going to give some updates and then we'll say goodnight together.
Okay.
People, people, people. I love you guys. You definitely fill my evening. When I am definitely having a bad day, you guys just fill my cup, fill my cup, fill my cup. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, if this is your first time on, we are here weekly at 7 p.m. We try to give you conversations that other people do not have. Remember that we solely are focused on helping those who are dealing with domestic violence. We appreciate all of you so much. Remember to reach out to that hotline, 1-800-799-7233 if you need any help. You can also reach us on any of our social media platforms as well as our website, loveshouldnothurt.com. If you need immediate assistance and we cannot return your call, text, or message immediately, 911 is always the best option. Guys, remember our next big event is up and it's coming and it's happening quickly. April 30th, we will have our annual 5K in honor of those victims that we have lost to domestic violence and in support of all of those who are still dealing with domestic violence and celebrating all of our survivors. Remember that if you have someone in your life that you know who has lost their life due to domestic violence, please send me their photos to Christina at loveshouldnothurt.com. We want to make a huge banner for our event so that we can celebrate those angels who are now resting peacefully after unfortunately losing their lives to domestic violence. So that's Christina at loveshouldnothurt.com. I love all of you. I appreciate all of you. Remember, we are also starting the works for our second documentary. So if you are someone who feels you want to tell your story, please inbox me. Reach out to me because the second one will continue to touch lives just as it did the first one. Thank you for joining in tonight's conversation. I love you guys for always giving us amazing comments and keeping the conversation flowing. Join us next week. We will be back here at 7 p.m. And remember, celebrate those beautiful mujeres in your life because today is March 1st. It is my reina, Gloria Vega's birthday. So happy birthday to my mommy. We are celebrating Women's History Month this month, and that is the first woman that we are celebrating, my beautiful queen, Gloria Vega. Happy birthday to my beautiful mother. We will celebrate women throughout the month because, listen, men, you guys are amazing, but you would be nowhere without us carrying you in our wombs. So we're going to celebrate women all month for Women's History Month. I love you guys. Let's bring Edwin back so that we can say goodnight together.
Real quick,
Yay!
I want to let you ladies know that I'm pledging to make sure I raise him well, to make sure that he shows big respect and understands how to treat a woman and speak to a woman and not to be in an unhealthy relationship. And he wanted to say goodnight with me. And real quick, Esther Kelly, you're talking about Women's Month. Esther Kelly was the founder of the Lighthouse, in 1893, a woman stepped up and decided to start programs. So powerful
Yeah,
woman, give her props also. So also, Chicken
absolutely.
Hawk wanted to say goodnight to everybody, right?
Good night.
Good night, buddy. Thanks for joining us. Edwin, thank you as always. We love having you on. You're an amazing guest. Thank you for being here
Thank
tonight
you.
with us. Have a good night, everyone. We'll see you
Good
next Tuesday. Happy Women's History Month. Good night,
night.
everybody.